Is this the year the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl?
The Bills are returning basically everybody.
Last year was a scratching the surface kind of season.
They're a more legitimate contender now than they were last year.
He's talked about, but I don't think it's talked about nearly enough.
He can take things over.
There's a chance they roll the division.
Really worried about how the defense is going to be.
They're depending on these new pieces on defense to pick up the slack.
Scared money doesn't make money.
You have a very elaborate prediction here, my friend.
Let's not gloss over that part.
Wait, am I envisioning? Oh, this is.
I think we're off to a good start.
We are back, everyone. Welcome to another season of Leading the Charge. I am Matt Bove, joined as always by Howard Simon and Joe Biscaglia. Welcome back, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us.
It feels like we never left.
It really feels like it just had one very long sleep and now I'm back.
It was 220 days ago.
That long?
I checked on Google a little bit ago, so I know exactly what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
We are back. I'm going to start with a banger. Is this the year the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl? I'm kidding. We'll
not
get to
fair.
that at the end of the show.
Come on.
That's called the tease, ladies and gentlemen. So as we get ready for the season, I do want to just kind of gauge general expectations. We've been talking about this Super Bowl or bust thing. A couple of years ago, is the window closing? Now is it Super Bowl or bust? How are you feeling as we get ready for the season? We'll start with you.
Can you just get last year's first show and play my comments? They're the same.
Okay, we probably can.
Can
we figure that out?
I think we all have to lower the expectations. It's going to be a little bit different than it was in years past. There are a lot more questions about the Bills going into the opener than we've had in the last few years. So yeah, cautiously optimistic. I think they're still a playoff team. Do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? Not right now. I'm almost identically where I was a year ago at this time.
Okay.
Hey, the offense is really good. Josh is really good. The Bills are going to win their division. They'll be among the top teams in the AFC. Really worried about how the defense is going to be. Not sure if they'll actually be able to win a Super Bowl.
Okay, see, here's my thing. When I think back to last year, I think there was some skepticism about if they were going to be able to even get in. I think we all thought they were going to make the playoffs. We did all think they were going to make the playoffs. I didn't necessarily feel like AFC Championship, so I feel differently this year. I feel like they're a more legitimate contender now than they were last year. I mean, what do you think?
I think that's the key difference between last year and this year, because now they come with the expectations. Like the same year that they were the Super Bowl favorites when they opened up against the Rams, it felt pretty similar to what is going on this year, where the Bills are returning basically everybody, well, definitely everybody on offense, and they are returning everyone that they wanted to return on defense.
Yeah.
And now we have a situation where they're depending on these new pieces on defense to pick up the slack and do the things that all of the playoff teams from years past weren't able to do. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting campaign because they didn't play with any of that weight last year, and now they have to do it.
I do think, though, that they are just a more talented roster now than they were a year ago across the board. I think the offense exceeded expectations last year, but I think the defense was pretty average, and I think that we could see more out of that side of the ball this year, which feels like a natural segue. So for this one, we'll start with you. Give me a player. It can be on either side of the ball that you are most excited about this year. And when I say excited, everybody, I mean that could make a difference, and maybe we're not talking about enough right now.
I mean, he's talked about, but I don't think it's talked about nearly enough at this point. It's Christian Benford. The camp that he had this summer is evident of someone who has taken a pretty large step forward. And that's saying something because what he was in 2024, which was really his biggest breakout campaign of his career so far, it was really good. I think he can push into the top 5 cornerbacks of everyone's estimation. Like I could see him being in that conversation of being an All-Pro. He's so lock solid in zone. He's so heady. He's so much better at man coverage. He knows when to make a play on the ball. Like this version of Christian Benford, who by the way is only 25 years old and signed for a long time, he could become their marquee defender.
Yeah, he's really, really good. How about you?
The player should be on defense because I think the defense is the bigger question, shockingly, of this team. But I don't have a guy that I would say, it's young guys I hope step up. but I will go to the offense because if the Bills are going to be good, if they're going to win the division, they're going to be a contender, they're going to do it on the backs of the offense, and I'll go with the guy that I developed a man crush on last year, and that's Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
I think he's become such a huge part of this offense. He's such a reliable weapon. I think last year was a scratching the surface kind of season. I still think there's more room for Shakir to grow and become an even better receiver in this offense. He obviously has good chemistry with Josh. Clutch catches, run after, yards after catch. There's so much to like about his game. So I'm going to go Shakir.
I'm going to pivot. Before we started this, I told you guys that I was going to pick Keon Coleman. And I think Keon Coleman is going to have a nice season. I do think that there is some big expectations attached to him. I'm going to pivot to Joey Bosa, because that was somebody we were talking about a little bit before the show started. Joey Bosa has far exceeded my expectations this summer. Now, the biggest thing with Joey Bosa is he going to be available and is he going to be healthy? That is a major concern. The Bills need to make sure that he is available when they need him the most. But from what we've seen this summer, he can take things over on the defensive line. Like, there have been times when he is the more prominent pass rusher when he's alongside Greg Rousseau, which is a really good sign. Because Greg Rousseau, I think we all liked the player. He got the extension. We didn't know what that was going to look like. I think Joey Bosa might bring a little bit more to this defense than Greg Rousseau does on a consistent basis.
Two things. One, you're biased because he also has 8 letters in his name.
Okay, fair. Fair.
You just did the
I just figured that one out. Okay, Matt Bove, Joey Bosa. I got it. Okay.
And two, the plan for him is going to be so vital because this is a guy who missed 45% of his games over the last 3 seasons.
Yes.
That is
a lot.
A lot.
That's almost half.
And the operation of keeping him fully healthy through summer, bravo, they did it. They got him vet rest days, but now it's the plan moving forward because you can manage those reps in summer and training camp because he's not like actually getting hit. There's not like roll up opportunities on the leg and everything like that. Now it's a matter of how much do you play him in the game? What does it mean to you at the beginning of the season?
Right.
And what means more to you? Down the stretch or week 1 through week 9?
I think it's game dependent. I think if you're down in a game or if you need a big play, you lean on it a little bit more. Then as you get later into the season, if he is healthy, then you start to see him more and more and more, and maybe those snap counts continue to go up. So that's the defensive line, which should really, really be well improved. But you know what's going to probably be awesome again?
I wonder what position.
I don't have to say it.
The Buffalo Bills offensive line. Coming up on the other side of the break, we are chatting with 2 of the key members on the offensive line about what makes that side or that line just so special. Welcome back, everyone. Now, if you were just joining us or if you've never seen the show before, we spend way too much time talking about the offensive line. But if you think that's going to change, well, guess what? It's not. Joe Buscaglia and I had a 25-minute conversation with starting center Connor McGovern and starting guard David Edwards. Now, we aired half of that conversation last week. Here's the other half.
To you guys, what has been the biggest, I guess, change? Not really a change, but how has the offensive line taken a step even from 23, which was a good year, to 24, which was a great year for you guys?
Yeah, I'd say that we do a great job. I know this is like the biggest cliche in football, but we truly do a great job of staying process oriented. We don't care about the results of the play. And that's like kind of preached throughout the building, which I love, because there are plays like we were watching some today where we didn't really ID right, or we didn't do a great job in our technique, and James makes us right and gains 8 yards. And so stripping yourself of the result, I think, is so critical in offensive line play. And we just focus on, all right, we have great intent with every play that we run. Do we have the right fundamentals and technique to match that intent? And if we do, it's a successful play. And if not, how can we correct it and move forward?
What do you feel like you guys can collectively improve on as you get ready for another year? Obviously, another season, time on task. Like, what do you look at last year and we're like, hey, we thought we did a good job with that, but we know we can do better with it?
I think that we kind of evolved as the season went on last year, specifically with our run schemes. So how can we continue to grow within that to, hey, we have these formations, we're running these plays. Can we continue to take steps forward with the techniques and fundamentals within those schemes, outside zone, inside zone, mid zone, gap and trap?
Especially with the the relevance of the running game kind of making a comeback in today's game. Does that versatility to do all these concepts? Because I remember a few years ago it was a lot of pin and pull, and that was basically the identity of the running game. But now it's, like you said, all of these different things. So how does that challenge a defense to be able to prepare for all that?
Like when we start running the ball like that and show many different schemes, that really opens up to play action now. And then once we get that going, then we can throw on them running. So it just really keeps the defense guessing, and they don't truly know what we're going to do next. And that really frees us up, and Joe can just call whatever he wants, and he's comfortable and has that trust in us, and we're going to get that job done.
What is it like being the offensive line for Josh Allen? You know, everybody knows, hey, he's the MVP and he can do all of this crazy stuff. But I would also imagine that the crazy stuff at times makes it more difficult because you can't exactly predict what he's going to do, or when he starts kind of getting out of the pocket.
Oh yeah, and like sometimes like you don't know, like we'll have like I'll put the protection going into like the boundary, and they're showing pressure, and all of a sudden he overs us, and it's like why do we want to do this? And in his mind he already has some hot route already ready, and he's like, I'm running off this edge, and like I'm going to extend this play to pull someone up, and then I'm going to throw it deep. So he doesn't mind sacrificing his body sometimes, and it's like we're trying to like get him to get out of that. Like we're like, why are we not sliding into this obvious pressure? And it's just in his mind he's already had this set, and he's going to do it.
How do you try and prepare for him going off and doing his own thing the way that he does from time to time?
I would also say he gets us out of a lot of sets.
For sure.
Yeah,
Right there. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that just you have an understanding in the back of your head that the play is never over, and kind of building off of what you said, like the love that he has for you to be able to extend plays and put his shoulder down and try to make something out of nothing, makes you want to play as hard as you possibly can for him, because that's what he's given you. So I never think to myself the play is over, or oh, they got us because we have Josh.
I vividly remember when I realized that Josh was going to be different. It was on Thanksgiving in Dallas.
Yeah, I remember that play. Actually, I was on the
you
very
didn't play in the game, right?
No, I was on IR already.
Yeah, so you were on the sideline. When did you guys know? Was it obviously? I mean, for you, it could have been even earlier. You saw it then. When did you know? I mean, you're playing for the Rams. You're not getting a ton of exposure to the Bills.
Well, we played here in 2020 during COVID.
Year, like week 3.
Yep. And I just remember we were down like 28-3 at half or something crazy. Mm-hmm. And I just like some of the stuff that he was able to do. There are plays that he makes within the game, within a series, that you're just like, my gosh, this is the throws or the escaping pressure, or he just does stuff. So I remember being on the sideline being like, how are we down 28-3 before half? Like it didn't make sense and then you see Josh continue to do his thing as the years go by, and you're like, this guy's unbelievable.
I remember that game vividly because that was one of the first times where you saw him, like the processing side of the game was taking a jump forward, especially against zone, because that kind of gave him some problems in his first couple of years. But like he was on it and moving guys with his eyes, and I'm like, whoa, something's different here.
Yeah.
And that's probably what led to that 28-3.
There's no doubt.
How close are the margins from being a team that can win it all to a team that comes just short? Like, you're a good example of this. You've been able to do it all. How close is it?
I actually remember talking to Vaughn. We were on the plane last year after one of the games. I think it was the Rams game. And we were talking about that, just how special of a year, how special of a group that we thought we had. And there are just certain things have to go your way, certainly, but I think that if you have the right group of people, the right group of coaches, you just always have a chance to do it, and I think that obviously we do.
I have one selfish question. Based on what you've seen in camp so far, the young offensive linemen, you got a ton of them. I'll take a different answer from both of you. Who has kind of caught your eye this summer? It can be an obvious one or a not so obvious one.
I would have to say personally for Tylen Grable. Just like him coming in when Spencer was out for the first few weeks, him and Vandy switching on and off, and it was impressive to just watch him take 1 reps with right tackle, then flip over and go left tackle like right afterwards, and just watching him just grow this past year after his injury last year has been very impressive.
I'd say Travis Clayton. Because that guy has never put on a helmet prior to last year and played football. He misses all of last year with a shoulder injury. And this year's his first training camp to be able to be like, all right, how do I set this guy? How do I block this play? And the growth that he's made from the start of training camp to the Bears game has been awesome to see.
And then I'll ask you on the defensive side. You're the guys who are going up against a lot of them. The defensive line was such a huge emphasis for this team over the course of the last couple months. Who have you been impressed with on that side as the guys who are going directly across from them?
Yeah, I would say my favorite's been so far is Deion Walker.
Yeah.
And not just like his abilities on the field, but like his willingness to learn. Like there'll be times where we're signing something, the way I throw my hands, he's always asking questions of why you do this, why you do that. And then he takes that and applies it to his next reps. And then he goes out and does that against other teams. And all of a sudden he's taking my teaching and beating other guys. And like, I think that's just great because he just wants to get better. And I think that's a great attribute to have.
I think TJ and Deion both are going to be problems in this league. The more reps, the more maturity they get within scheme and, physically, they're just going to be issues.
My last question for both of you is, what's your favorite part about being in Buffalo? You're not from here, but both of you now have been here for a couple of years. What's the thing that you enjoy
Like
the most
living
about
here,
it?
or like
just in the community?
I would say community-wise, it reminds me a lot where I'm from, like my hometown, just a slower way of life. Especially come from Dallas, like it was just hustle and bustle city. Like this is just nice to take a step back. Like how truly friendly everyone is here. It's not like a fake friendness. Like everyone truly cares, and not just because we're players. All your neighbors do anything for you. It's just great people live here.
The neighborhood that we live in, kids are outside, they're riding their bikes. Like, it just reminds us of like when we grew up. To Connor's point, like when my daughter Margot was born, like so many people helped, in that process during the snowstorm when we played Pittsburgh in the wild card 2 years ago. And it's just it's a great group of people that live here, and I don't know, it's an awesome spot.
Do you forgive us for not having an actual round table?
Yes.
Yeah.
The next time we do this, we will try and get an official round table. Thank you, guys.
Of course.
Very much
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Well, admittedly, this segment has come back to bite us in years past. We will give our predictions for what we think the Bills season is going to look like. And last year, some people laughed at us. We all thought they were going to make the playoffs. We just didn't know they were going to do it by December 1st, like they ultimately did. So it is the time of the show that I think everybody is probably the most interested. What do we think the Bills are going to do this season? And what do you think their record is as they are getting ready to maybe play in the playoffs? I don't want to assume anything. But Howard, we will start with you.
Anywhere from 11-6 to 14-3. Joe?
Really narrowing
is that good?
it down.
No.
That's a prediction?
I need you to pick a number.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think they're the class of the AFC. I don't think they're going to clinch by Halloween like they did last year. But the AFC East, I meant, not the class of the AFC. But they should win the division. They should be the team to beat there. They should be right at the top with the Baltimore's, Kansas City's, whoever else you want to throw in. But there'll be some losses, because I think there'll be questions about the secondary.
Yeah.
Right? And the line looks good. The linebackers look good. But, man, that secondary, especially with the injuries at cornerback up. Can Benford play both spots at the same time?
Yeah. He's that good. He might be able to pull it off.
Maybe.
I'll say 12-5.
Okay. 12-5 I feel like is a really reasonable. I think their Vegas over-under is 12.5. So that would actually be the under.
Okay.
So negative all of a sudden.
Oh, of course.
You're taking over as the negative person on the show.
Well, Joe taught me well.
Just wait until, yeah. Well, I don't know, because last year you surprised me. You gave them a little bit more credit than I thought you were going to. So what is it this time?
I'm going to give them 12-5, and that's because I think there's a chance they roll the division this year. And not to say that like the teams are bad. I think they're just the other three teams are in transition right now. Like the Patriots are going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think they have their quarterback in Drake May. I think they're going to give the Bills a game in both of those games, but I think it's too much too soon for them. The Jets, I think they're under a great new coach in Aaron Glenn. They're going to be onto the races at some point, but they're not there yet from a talent perspective. And the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel could be the first coach fired this year, and that's a legit possibility. They could turn it around. They have talent on the offensive side of the ball, but all of this stuff leads me to believe that it's going to boost the Bills' win total up, even if they do have some of these losses that you're talking about.
All right. I'm going to pick the worst record of the three of us. I'm going to pick 11-6. But I'm also going to take this a little bit further. Remember a couple years ago when the Bills were playing up until the last game of the year, and we didn't even know if they were going to make the playoffs. Then they get in and they're the 2 seed with that 11-6 record. I don't think it's going to go that far. I think we're going to know that they're going to be in the playoffs earlier than that. I think they're 11-6, and they somehow are hosting multiple playoff games. What I think is going to happen, hear me out, is that they are going to somehow host the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So, listen to this. They will be hosting the Chiefs in the final game ever played inside Highmark Stadium. The Chiefs, if they win, will be going to 4 straight Super Bowls, which no team has ever done other than the Bills. The Bills will be trying to go to a Super Bowl and also stopping the Chiefs from going to 4 straight Super Bowls. And you know what's going to happen? The Bills are going to win the final game inside Highmark Stadium and advance to the Super Bowl, where they will take on the Green Bay Packers. And that is my take. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be rooting for the Bills that day, and we are going to become best friends.
I've got it. I have it.
So,
I'm saving it.
11-6.
I recorded it.
I had to teach Howard how to hit record.
It's the red button.
11-6 feels like this could come back to haunt me so
No,
much. But
no,
hopefully it's not taken out of context.
I think
and you
the other
lost.
part.
The part about beating the
a little
Chiefs
bit.
at home in the AFC Championship game, let's not gloss over that part.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you know
you're worried about the record. We're like, okay, you have a very elaborate prediction here, my
Yeah.
friend.
All I'll say is that scared money doesn't make money. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our season preview episode of Leading the Charge. If you enjoyed this, we are here every single Monday night.
Through the
from
Super Bowl,
now
apparently.
Through the Super Bowl. If you didn't enjoy this, well, I'm sorry. We're still here every Monday from now until the end of the season. That is Joe Biscaglia. That is Howard Simon. I'm Matt Bove. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon.